Hi guys and welcome back to Scribe Gaming. I'm your man Scribe and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. So, we've had a new post actually come on the forums from SWGoH and it concerns the Rancor raid and in particular Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's performance in it. I think we better take a look because this could be a little bit concerning. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so I don't know if you guys can see this completely properly. Let's zoom in just a little bit and perhaps go down here. Okay, so we can see SWGoH took to the tables and he did say, "Hi, Holotable heroes, we are aware of an SLKR team that's capable of soloing phase 1 of the challenge tier Rancor raid and will be investigating accordingly." Now, this is obviously concerning for several reasons. Now, when this raid did come out, CG did announce that there will be no individual teams that could solo the raid. Now, it's not taken too long since the launch of the raid, since people have been getting their Relic 8 SLKR, fine-tuning the mod setup and the strategy for them to figure out some pretty solid runs. We saw it early on with runs of over 50%, and then these have slowly started to climb as people have fine-tuned the tactics. Now then, this gentleman over here, Peter Morton, did take to YouTube and he posted several runs actually, some of over 80%, and this one here, which is a complete phase 1 solo by SLKR. Now, the fact that CG are looking into this does not mean to me that they are concerned that this guy is using some sort of APK hack. I personally don't think this is a hack. I think this is a genuine run that is possible with a combination of really high tier mods, a good strategy, and favourable RNG. So what does this really mean? What's going to happen? They have said that they don't want this to be a soloable raid. Whether or not that's going to pertain to phases as well, we just don't know. The approach that CG could take here is, well, there's a few things that they could do. First and foremost, they could decide to buff the raid boss. Please, God, no, don't do it. Please. Pretty please. CG, please. I'm asking, don't buff the raid boss. Like, that's a bad idea. Secondly, they could nerf SLKR in raids. I'm not entirely against it, but it would put a bit of a divide in the community because already it's a difficult task to try and get through the Rancor raid if you're not in a guild that has got a lot of high tier players, a lot of people with a lot of GLs, then you're already struggling to beat the raid as it is. If you suddenly nerf SLKR, then it's going to make it very, very difficult for those smaller guilds to try and catch up and start earning those Relic 8 mats. Now, the third and final thing that CG could potentially do is actually lower all GL performance. Maybe they are going to go in and change the way that the stacking removal of mastery is impacted in the raid. So if we take a look right now, we can see that my guild was doing a failed attempt. Rip me. But if we take a look at the details here, let's have a look. Where is it? Here we go. So if we look at Pit Fighter 2, at the start of each of its turn, this unit gains 50 armor penetration, 10% crit chance, crit damage, and potency stacking. All enemies, both active and defeated, lose 5% offense, tenacity, and mastery stacking until the end of the encounter. This is tripled for Galactic Legends. So this particular part here, the tripled loss of mastery and offense and tenacity, that specifically impacts Galactic Legends if they decide that that is not sufficient because it gets completely outstripped by SLKR's Siphon. Maybe they decide that's not quite enough, we're going to quadruple it, or we're going to singtuple it, or whatever it is. If they increase that, that is a terrible, terrible thing. And the reason I say that is already the only GLs that really do a significant amount of damage outside of SLKR are both Rey and Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, and even those are not really comparable runs. Rey with clones in phase 1 can get a solid 23–24% on a good run, and you know, in phase 4 she can get maybe 10% with Jedi. Jedi Master Luke can maybe get, you know, 5–8% as well in phase 4, and you know, some decent runs between phase 2 and phase 3, but that really pales in comparison to the damage that SLKR can do. So what concerns me is if they take the approach of blanket nerfing Galactic Legends further in raids, instead of specifically focusing on SLKR, we could be in trouble. Now, the final thing that CG could do is absolutely nothing. Maybe they decide after looking at the data that they're just like, okay, we knew people were going to figure out a way to do really good damage in this raid, we're just going to have to put up with it. Maybe that's the approach they take and they just decide everything is fine and nothing changes. Now personally, I would like to see a little bit more viability for the other GLs to perform in raids, instead of just having SLKR being the one and done raid master, as well as, you know, all other forms of PvE, and being able to perform at the top of arenas. Now, as it stands, Sith Eternal Emperor right now really doesn't do much in any of the raids. Now, his viability in arenas has increased with the advent of the Armourer and certain additional synergies that was introduced with those two kits, but I do feel like he is still lacking, particularly in the raid environment. Now, maybe this is something that it just hasn't been discovered as of yet. He is still fairly new, the raid is fairly new, so maybe I'm wrong and there are some combinations using Sith Eternal Emperor that do give rise to solid raid runs. But at this moment, I feel like he is particularly given the short straw as far as GLs are concerned. So yeah, I mean, on the whole, guys, I guess I just wanted to bring this to your attention if you hadn't seen that post already, and be prepared for any changes that are going to be coming to the raid. It is likely that something is going to change, and it is likely to be specifically around SLKR if there is a change. Now, I won't guarantee you that that will happen, but it's just something to be cognizant of. Personally, I'm not in favor of them nerfing anything just yet, because I feel at the moment the raid is still incredibly difficult to clear for many guilds, and making it even harder still is just going to make it that much more difficult for those smaller and uprising guilds to actually get in and earn their relicate materials. Okay guys, so that's going to about do it for me today. If you want to check the description down below, you will find links to all my social media, my Twitch, my Twitter, my Discord. Please do join me, have a good chin wag, and we'll all have a bloody good time. Apart from that, if you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button and consider subscribing, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.
Just giving a quick shout out to my patrons. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and without your support, I wouldn't be doing this today. Thanks so much.